Welcome to All Kinds. I'm Kaya.
And I'm Yehudes. Today's episode is nice and nasty. Yes, more allegations are coming to light about Ellen's nice but really nasty and bitchy behavior. We keep hearing more and more about people who play a nice person in public, but really they're assholes in real life. Also, are things going to come to light for James Corden's apparently bitchy behavior? We will find out. So, is it okay to cancel your family?
Ooh, lots to unpack there.
Lots to unpack.
Definitely. So this whole Ellen thing has exploded, and now there's rumors floating around that James might replace her. But it's not looking like a little bit of a lateral move. People are saying he's starting to get this reputation. Well, not starting.
So just taking it back from the beginning too with Ellen, I mean, her allegations are getting more and more severe.
Yeah.
Now this woman, and I heard about this on the Twitter feed, there was a guy who wrote, "I'm donating to a food bank for anyone who can tell me what really Ellen is like behind the scenes." And one woman said, "She tried to get me fired. She reported me for having chipped nail polish at a vegan restaurant this woman worked at." So recently, Inside Edition caught up with the woman, who's also a stand-up comic, and was saying, I was really shocked that Ellen actually took the time to write an email to my supervisors.
That's right.
And saying, about the chipped nail polish on my hand. And I just thought, first of all, as another woman to woman, it's horrible. It's disgusting. And also as a fellow comic. I mean,
I didn't know she was a comedian.
Right. And she said, the Inside Edition reporter asked, "What do you think of all these celebrities that are coming out?" So now Ashton Kutcher, who else? Katy Perry, Jay Leno have been coming in Ellen's
Diane
defense.
Keaton.
Diane Keaton. Fuck all of them, because they obviously don't stand for the working people.
But they're also stupid. They all keep saying, "I had a great time with Ellen." So what are these people bitching about?
So the reporter asks the woman just that, and the woman says, "Well, obviously she was great too. You're a rich celebrity. Why don't you listen to the people who actually had to work underneath her?"
Exactly. Everyone's saying that. Like, the fact that they come forward and say these things make them look even worse. No one's saying she doesn't treat her guests properly. Nobody has said that. They're saying that people have to walk on eggshells around her. Like we explained with the Australian producer.
Right. Even the Aussie producer, I mean, he's not lying. He has no skin in the game. He was saying he was shocked about how crazy it was that her own staff was like walking on eggshells. How do you not notice that?
Yeah, and he says, "I can't tell if she's nice or not because I wasn't allowed to look at her or speak to her."
Well,
and he's the producer.
And that's the great part about this coronavirus. We're really seeing celebrities not being able to read the room. It's starting with the Imagine video, with these celebrities, Vanessa Hudgens saying, people are just going to die. Well, it's just part of being a virus.
I think it's like you always think of when you see an actress in a movie that's and you really love the movie and you love the character, and then you see this celebrity go on a talk show or something and you can see they're off script and you're like, "Oh, what a dud this actor act." Then you realize that's not the character. They didn't write those words. We're seeing them without their writers, essentially.
Right. And it's Ricky Gervais was recently on a British podcast, and he said, regular people are sick of being, lectured by celebrities to recycle properly, to, not use as much oil. When you live in these mega mansions, you're the one who's gas guzzling, enough
Absolutely.
with the lectures already. And with Ellen, what makes it even more hilarious that she had this be kind. Oh, I just want to be kind. But her work, I mean, that environment, the old DJ Tony came out and acknowledged the workplace was toxic.
Yeah, these not only were the employees scared, but even there was an incident, as you're hearing more and more, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of these stories, but like one was where an audience member, Ellen, played a prank on them, and she basically had a table of freebies when you come to the show, and she said, "Everyone just take one." So apparently one of the audience members, she took a couple more, whatever. She'd probably been in line for, hours, who knows. Anyway, so Ellen shamed her on the episode, made her come up and sit in like Ellen jail or something.
I remember when that first happened too, and I thought that's really mean. I remember watching that show live, and I was like, that is horrible.
It's uncomfortable. And what's the woman going to do, right? She signed a waiver. She didn't realize that next thing you know, she's on national TV. And now it's coming up all over again.
Or making fun of Sofia Vergara's accent as if she's like dumb. Not, it wasn't in like a loving way. It was trying, "Hey, Sophia, can you pronounce this word? Can you pronounce that word?" And just laughing at it.
Oh my God. It's like as Canadians when people ask me, "You live in an igloo?"
Or do you say a boot? For the record, I've never heard a Canadian say a boot.
I say it when I'm making a joke. Like if I'm talking to someone who really doesn't know, I'm like, "That's what it's about, eh?"
Yeah, I mean, we do say A a lot. I say A all the time.
And we
You
say
know,
sorry a lot.
I do say sorry. You know, when I lived in Boston, in the States, Americans say excuse me, but in Canada, it's sorry. And then excuse me is like very rude in Canada. It's like excuse me, or
Yeah, it's very rude.
or it can be nice like, oh, sorry, excuse me, but we'll still say sorry with the excuse me. And then to say sorry, we say I apologize.
That's right. And I think that's the big difference. I'll meet Americans all the time. And even though we're born in the States, we've got to make this clear, we're both. But sometimes I'll forget that, you know, we're living here, we say sorry all the time. And I'll meet an American and I'll be like, sorry, just as a way of speaking. And they'll be like, oh, what are you sorry for? I'm like, what?
They take it super seriously.
I'm like,
right.
What? Who's sorry? They're like, you just said sorry. I'm like, no, I just meant hold the door. You know,
Well,
like,
when I worked in a hotel in Boston, I said sorry to one of my coworkers, and I apparently kept saying it again. It's like another word for excuse me. I'll say sorry if I'm in someone's way, or sorry, you know. This woman Olga, who was a real bitch though, she's like, why are you saying sorry? Like, you know what? I said, oh, sorry, Olga. Like, I meant like, excuse me. And she goes, and I explained to her that's like the Canadian.
Yeah, we're not apologizing. People think we're always apologizing.
Right. There's
we're
apologize and then there's sorry.
That's right. They're very different things. You have to use the word apology in an apology.
Right. Like, I deeply apologize.
That's right. You can't just say, I'm sorry.
If a Canadian tells you I deeply apologize, that means they're sorry to like 100 times.
Yeah, they
like,
really mean it. That's a genuine apology.
Right.
You can take that. But speaking of, I think we should get into this James Corden, because there's rumors going around that he also is a bit Ellen-y, if I may say so.
Oh, well, do share. I know you've been doing your
I was
research.
Like looking it up, and I was like, what the heck? So I guess it all started. He made a big success with the Gavin and Stacey show, which was a delightful little, you know, comedy show about these couples living, I think it was in Welsh or, you know, wherever Welsh.
Somewhere in the
Yeah.
UK.
You know what I mean. Anyway, darling. So he became like a big hit, the show won all these awards, and he's a comedic actor, but he decided that makes him a comedian. And I think that's why Ricky Gervais and him have beef. But we can get back to that later. And then he admits, he even says he became a bit of a brat. The fame went to his head, all of that. Anyway, he comes over here, he does a movie with Harvey Weinstein. And then he gets this show. And things are going great. And then he just starts, I think the first big mistake he makes is at the AmFAR Awards. And Harvey had just been like, you know, all the allegations were coming out. And he suddenly starts making these Harvey jokes that are really, really in poor taste at the time. This is a guy who palled around with Harvey, did movies, didn't say anything.
What kind of jokes was he saying?
I don't remember exactly, but you could look it up. But
They were not
basically
good.
made, yeah, like, oh, it's so hot in here. Harvey's already asking for a massage or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah. No, you can't do that, James.
Rose McGowan right away tweeted out, you fucking piglet, or some shit like that.
I love Rose McGowan. First of all, for her, she is amazing, because now we're seeing all these Hollywood celebrities and the pedo ring.
Oh my God, yeah. So here he is trying to hop on the bandwagon. He's always like that kid that's trying to like be in the cool group. Like he tries too hard. You get that vibe that he's
Right.
not so genuine. And he replaced Craig Ferguson, who was hilarious.
And
you know?
Craig will always have my heart, because you guys know I'm a huge Britney fan. And when Britney shaved her head and lost custody of her kids, everyone was making fun of her. Jimmy fucking Kimmel, fuck you, Jimmy. He was making fun of her. And he was the only one that said, you know, I know everyone's talking about Britney Spears. And he went through he talked about in his monologue his own serious addiction with alcoholism. And he goes, you know, I'm not going to make fun of Britney Spears. She's a baby. She's 23 years old.
Yeah. You go
know-
from like a Craig to like corporate
Right.
vanilla sponsorship is what it feels like. You feel like you're getting something.
I will say
half-assed.
this, though. I think James Corden is hilarious with his skits. He once went skydiving with Tom Cruise. It was hilarious. He once went to a pride parade and they told him he was a bear. He didn't like that, because when you're fat as a gay man, you're called
That's
a bear. So it is hilarious when he has those skits.
Yeah. So speaking of that, his skits is one of the things that got him in hot water. He has this skit where like you have to eat all this gross food. And if you don't, then you have to answer a question. So the person who was on, I think it was Kimmel or Fallon, I think it might have been Kimmel, ate all the food. And so was able to turn the tables and ask him questions. And he challenged James, name 2 of your cameramen. He could not name a single one. He works with these people day in and day out.
Now, that's bad. When you compare to our girl, Wendy Williams, who always includes her cast, her crew, all the time.
She's turning the camera around all the time. What do you think, Susan? What happened here?
Right.
Jill?
Suzanne, what do you think?
And they're like busy trying to run the show holding cameras.
You
They're
see
like,
them all
"Okay,
disheveled.
Wendy."
Like when she tells her camera crew to come in, or the one who had a cold, she made him come in. How are you feeling? You're feeling
He's
better.
like, I'm trying to film a show.
Right.
Wendy, I got to get back there. She's like, well, come tell us all. So you could tell, to not not know a single name. I mean, yeah, it looks like we're only watching the show for an hour, but they do a lot of work. There's a lot of
Well, you can tell even with Conan O'Brien when he did a whole skit on his interns and he made fun of, like, he pretends to be an asshole, Conan, but you could tell he's a sweetheart. When he lost his show, he made sure to use his salary to pay for the cast and the crew. I believe it. James Corden
I believe
would do that.
Conan is a Keanu. And then the worst is, so he went on Reddit with his team and they said, ask me anything. It's a popular feature on Reddit. And he just got a ton of hate coming his way. And one thing that really stuck out is he was called out for going to, like, I think a writers union meeting. He went without the writers and then was advocating for them to get less pay. Yeah. He claims that wasn't his intention. He just wanted to make it so up and coming interns could find a way in, I guess at the expense of the actual senior writers. But it really wasn't a good look. He didn't really apologize. He said that wasn't his intent, but the writing was on the wall, if I may say. Sorry for the pun.
Right. I mean, I hope things come to light about him because also you mentioned that, like, you told me that his wife or something. What's happening with
everyone now that everyone's like hyper Eleni aware and looking for this type of behavior? So someone said they were on a plane ride and they saw this woman like struggling to get her bags and whatever, put them up, and the guy was just sitting there like whatever, like wearing an eye mask. This is before Corona. Anyway, so didn't think much of it, but then afterwards, like he was trying to get her stuff and she was really struggling. She's like a petite woman and she's like, for fuck's sakes, James, can you help me? And he would not help her. And then the person turned around and realized it was James Corden. Just his wife is schlepping everything, taking care of everything.
Sounds like someone we might know in our family.
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. So essentially, you're hearing more and more trickle out that he's not the nicest. Even on TripAdvisor, if you just look it up, there's a review of someone who went to see this show and they'd gone, like, you know, when you go to LA, you go see a show. I once saw Leno. It's like a thing you do. They film the show during the day and they got the tickets and they came in and they said he wouldn't even like really engage with the audience at all. It was just on his phone. And then when it was time to air, boom, he's on. Hey guys, I'm the nicest corporate vanilla stuff, you know?
And I think the reason why it hits so hard is because we obviously have people like that in our family, in your family. You might have people who act really nice, who say, hey, if you need anything, you know, I'm here, you know, I'm your brother or I'm your sister. And then when you actually need something, they're like, fuck no.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, they're at a meeting trying to get you less pay.
That's right.
So I think that's the big issue here. When we talk about being one with the people and you're putting on this whole persona of niceness. Someone even said to him, I love karaoke carpool. You think he'd ever do one with a regular person?
Which would be hilarious, too.
It would. Just grab one of the audience members. I know he's not even driving. We know that now. He's just being towed around.
Well, to be honest, he is British, and I don't know why the English people drive on the left side.
They hate him. They don't want him back.
I heard that they hate him, and they also hate Piers Morgan, though, but I like Piers Morgan.
I don't know why they hate Piers. I haven't really looked into that. I only know Piers from being over here, but also when he was a judge on the talent show there. But
that's good.
But usually, like, one of these type of personalities in Britain has a long-standing career, so maybe he did shows and stuff we don't know about. But I know for Corden, people feel he's not really a comedian, and he tries to like kind of steal Ricky's vibe.
You know, it kind of sounds like these nice but nasty people. Again, I'm going to go on Meghan Markle. I mean, it was just recently the Telegraph confirmed that her Wikipedia before she was engaged to Harry, right before was changed. Before it was actor, model, and then before she got engaged, it was humanitarian. And during this time, she flew to like Uganda to pose with like impoverished Black children.
Oh, right.
So it's all coming to light, the nice, but I mean, that's a nasty thing to do.
But it's like you say, you got to be worried of someone who tells you, I'm a kind person. It's like when someone says I'm a good person.
Right.
Ooh, you know what I mean? You get a little suspicious. Why is this person telling me that?
You know, evil people can do nice things.
Absolutely.
Bill Cosby did amazing things. He did amazing things for the Black community and for just America in general. You know, he was called America's father. And then he was also a rapist. You can be two things.
You absolutely can. Speaking of which, I'll just take us to our commercial.
Oh, already? Okay.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about, so we got to fit in a word from our sponsors. You know how they do. So this commercial is brought to you by Actual Kindness. Try it on for size. Maybe don't be such a shit all the time. And if you can't stop pretending to be nice, just be yourself. You don't need to, quote, kill us with your kindness.
Please don't.
Papa don't preach, and neither should you.
Amen. And we're back. That's a great commercial. I love being sponsored by Kindness because you know what, Chaya?
Always be kind.
I genuinely think I'm a kind person.
Uh-oh, here we go. Once we're saying we're good people.
Now, I can be shitty too at times. I'm not going to lie. But genuinely, I'm nice. I always say this. Whenever I see, we have a huge homeless problem here in Vancouver. But if I see an elderly homeless person or someone, a homeless person, is really struggling, or any woman that's a homeless, I don't care regardless of their age, I always make sure to give them
a tampon.
No, I give them money,
Oh, okay.
$1, $5,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, unfortunately here,
I think that's nice.
yeah, because we're also in Canada, so there is a social safety net. So the majority of the homeless here, it's for addiction.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's a woman, I mean, we
No, for
talked about
sure.
this
It's
last
still
episode.
misery.
I always tip a little higher if it's a
Absolutely.
woman server. Just again, ladies, part of the sisterhood.
And that's the thing, especially like with these celebrities. I think that's why everyone's getting so upset. It's because we're in a time of like international need. And then you're always saying you're such a kind, nice person. And then you're not. Be a Keanu.
Right. I mean,
know?
they're not reading the room whatsoever. And I think
Be
that's
kind.
great. When Ellen said she feels like she's in prison while being taped in her luxurious mansion and also cut a lot of her crew, I think that's where the crew actually finally said, fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
You don't go after someone's money. She got her crew's pays cut by like 60%, but still demanded that they be on the work, writing for her, everything. Now, it takes a lot to write.
That's right. And so that's the thing. James wasn't successful. Who knows what would have been if he had been successful, like getting the writer's strike. But I don't think it's a good idea with all of this floating around on the basic internet for them to replace Ellen with James. First of all, Ellen says she's not going anywhere.
I think they should replace her with Kathy Griffin. As you guys know, we love
For
her.
sure.
Or Rachel Dratch.
Rachel Dratch would be amazing. We don't hear enough of her. I know Maya Rudolph is coming back. We'd like some Rachel.
I think Maya Rudolph would be a great host, too.
She's going to be busy now.
She could do her Bronx Beat sketch. She could do so many funny
What
sketches.
can she do, Maya Rudolph?
She could do it all.
I want her busy doing another Bridesmaids, though.
I
I
think
need more
we
of
do.
those movies.
I think I am sick of seeing talk show hosts that aren't funny. I mean, why
I
don't
want
we
real
get?
comedians.
Why don't we? In speaking in light of Ben Mulrooney, get a person of color. But actually, just to make it like, there was once a
comedian
magazine
of
shoot.
color.
Right. There was a magazine shoot once of all the late night talk show hosts, and they were all white guys. There needs to be some diversity.
You know
there.
who would be great? She calls herself Les Dog.
Leslie Jones.
That's
yes,
right.
she would be great. We need someone who can offer more, like a Joan Rivers. We need a Joan Rivers of our generation.
We do. Where are the Joan Rivers of our generation? It's not Melissa. I'll tell you
No,
that.
I mean, and she knew that too. That's
Yeah.
one thing I love about Joan.
Well, Joan's the best, and we do miss her, and I hope she's resting in peace. But I don't understand why it's that hard. If you have all that money and you talk about being kind, give a little bit of away. I'm sure Ellen's doing that for PR. You're going to see she's going to come out with a real apology. She's going to donate to some charities. She's probably going to have a whole episode of how much she learned about everything. She's moving on. And
Well, the worst part is, so she did put out an apology to her crew. But this apology, she
not
said, ever since we've been growing bigger and bigger, I really dropped the ball and left a lot of some responsibilities to other people on my team. And clearly some didn't do their job. You can't do an apology where you're blaming your crew.
some more workers. Yeah, I mean,
If that's not hilarious to us common people, I don't know what is.
it's just too much. I can't deal with that. I was like,
And then Portia, her wife, saying, I stand with
of
Ellen.
course you do.
Now, in these moments, especially in America, where people are saying, I stand with Breonna Taylor, what's happening, the cops still have not been charged or arrested. I stand right now is very politically charged. I stand with Black Lives Matter. I stand against anti-Semitism. I stand with Ellen. Read the fucking room,
I like
lady.
to sit, but I'm still standing for those things. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. But when you say I stand in these trying times,
Yeah.
it's
Well, listen, everyone doesn't expect her to do a Ben Mulrooney and throw her under the bus, right?
No.
Of course she's going to stand to ride or die. I expect nothing less.
and that is true.
Right? Like,
Well, now we should talk about all these canceling of the celebrities and seeing them, they're doing it to themselves. As in your own personal life, when is it time to cancel some members of your family or close friends? Would you do that?
well, I know for a lot of people, it's like parents who are still enabling adult children. Because canceling means, nowadays, it's starting to mean fired, losing your income.
Right. To us, it's meaning boundaries. I don't want you
Right.
in my life. If I have to see you, I'll be cordial.
That's what canceling really means. It means a lot of things to different people, but I agree with you. And it's very hard to cancel family, financially or otherwise. So I don't know how you would do it, but it'd have to be a situational basis. If someone is really creating a toxic, negative relationship and putting onus on you, if you're stressed or anxious to even talk with this individual, they could be a family member. You can cancel them for whatever reason. People get canceled for less.
I find it freeing. I don't, because I have a relationship with a sibling of mine, and the relationship has always been toxic. And then when you get to a certain age, I'm 29. I'm going to be 30 years old in 2021. But
no, I think I've been unknowingly canceled too by a couple.
We've been, and you know what? They've canceled us, and fine. I'm glad. I mean, if I make you that uncomfortable in your life, I will leave. I don't want to be a burden to you.
This is it. I mean, obviously, family is important, and no man, woman is an island. So obviously, if it can be repaired, but like we've talked in the past, if it's narcissism or if it's selfishness or if someone's taking advantage of you, it shouldn't matter who they are. Stand up. And stand with yourself, hashtag, Yeah. I stand with me,
And speaking of canceling, with Chelsea Handler, getting back to the celebrities, because I just think it's hilarious, I think she needs to be canceled.
Well, I never saw the Hello, Chelsea, It's Me privilege, because for some reason this woman
hilarious. She's in her mansion. Oh, this is the best part of you guys got to watch. If you guys love to hate watch, what is it called?
Yeah, I just call it hate watching. Yeah.
But it's the best. In her show on Netflix called Privilege, she meets with, in her mansion, people who are really disenfranchised, like bottom of the barrel. She doesn't offer to donate. And before you say, well, maybe she donated behind the scenes. Now that we know celebrities, we know they love talking about their donations. They love it.
We would have heard about it.
Right. How they're so disenfranchised. She has them over to her palatial mansion. But the best part in the film, she meets an ex-boyfriend who is black. He just got out of jail for drug dealing. She meets him. She has a meal with his family. She doesn't offer him any money, nothing. It's just, again, you're profiting.
But why that's so egregious is because, like you said to me, she admits on the show that she was caught too, but because she was white and privileged,
right,
she didn't go to jail, but he did.
And on her YouTube page, if you guys Google on YouTube and you write Chelsea Handler mac and cheese, she's making this gross mac and cheese, and then she gives it to her landscapers. And even in Spanish, they're saying, okay, we'll give it to the dogs. Like, just because they're landscapers, they come from Mexico. They don't want your white, nasty mac and cheese.
Did she even try a bite?
And recently she shared something from Louis Farrakhan, who is an anti-Semite.
Yeah. And you know what? I found out from that whole thing that she actually is Jewish herself. And
she's Jewish from her father. And the reason why I say from her father, in Judaism, it's really about the mother. But not a problem if your father is. I still consider you Jewish. I do. But she didn't really grow up. The father never introduced Hanukkah or anything in the house. She talked about this. I read one of her books. You can't just say, hey, I'm Jewish now, so I'm a minority and I can talk about it.
Yeah, well, hi, privilege, it's me, Chelsea. And then she's saying then she's posting anti-Semitic.
Well, and in her
statements.
Netflix, she goes, I'm white, I'm Jewish, right? I'm privileged. And that's such an anti-Semitic trope. That's how I know she didn't grow up Jewish, because being Jewish doesn't make you privileged.
No, certainly doesn't. I can assure you.
And the way that she also had a little person on her show called Chewy. That wasn't his nickname.
That was a little person?
Yes. She would call this guy Chewy, like he's a dog.
I've heard her say Chewy, but
right.
Really? Oh, I didn't watch the show enough.
And she didn't respect Joan Rivers.
Oh, yeah, you told me that. That I think is
so.
Really
you know what?
offensive.
Can I swear on this?
Yeah, this is our
Fuck
podcast.
you, Chelsea. I hate you, and long live Joan Rivers. We love you, Kathy Griffin, Maya Rudolph, Rachel Dratch.
Yeah, and everyone stop posting known anti-Semitic or racist crap.
Right.
You can easily look it up before you post something.
A clock is right twice a day, okay? Just because they say something of truth. They still said Jews are vermin. He still said women need to be in the house.
Look it up. It wasn't like he said some random thing once 20 years ago. It's a known thing. Like, she has the internet. She would never post, for example, like a competing star stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But no problem. Oh, here comes some. Let me add some fuel to the fire. And oh, where are my Mexican gardeners? Let them eat some more of my frozen pizza that I made.
I mean, I love this time of coronavirus for the celebrity part, but I really wish everyone is safe, honestly.
You know what I do wish, though, with these celebrities? I really wish we did have some, like, Big Brother style cameras on, because I would love to see them preparing for these shenanigans.
To be a fly on the wall would be hilarious.
Like, what are we doing today, Portia? Like, what should we do? Okay, let's put out this statement in support of...
I stand with Ellen in these trying times.
Yeah, I said, okay, I'm going to send it. What do you think? Oh, let me call my friend here and ask her. Would you stand with Ellen?
And don't forget it, guys. They have all these PR people, everything, and they don't use them. They think, you know what? No, I'm going to post on my own.
That's right. That's right. But you know what? It's not that hard. From what I understand, Keanu Reeves is like the sweetest person. Why don't they just look to other celebrities who are nice like that? There's plenty of celebrities who are nice.
I stand with the workers at the Ellen Show.
Oh, yeah. I hope they get what they deserve and maybe like some back pay or something. I know she's reinstated them. She's not going anywhere. So whoever sticks with her through this should get like a crazy bonus.
I think so.
Especially like a corona bonus, especially since they were like summarily dismissed while she did non-unionized workers coming to the mansion.
Not good, Ellen.
Not good at all.
But I'd still watch Ellen.
I didn't watch to begin with, to be honest. Like,
I did watch. I'd still watch her, but in a different light.
yeah, I don't think she could dance the same way.
And on that note,
if you like what you hear, don't forget to check us out weekly on iTunes or on your preferred platform. Please give us a rating and subscribe to the show. Give us the stars you think we deserve.
That's true. Also, check out our website at allkindspodcast.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter at allkindsweekly or on Instagram at allkindspodcast. We look forward to hearing from you, and maybe we can discuss it on our next show. Thanks for listening.